that skin ain't good, cut it down to the ground, baby. It's gonna come back just fine. Cause that's how I garden. There's a wasp in here with me. I didn't know these tomatoes was in here because I couldn't see nothing. Hello, welcome to Yellow Door Urban Homestead. I am Asia and I'm an urban gardener growing in a small space out in my backyard. But today we are cleaning up tomatoes, y'all. I have been saying that I need to clean up my tomatoes for quite some time now. And so we're gonna do that. But I'm going to show you a few things that I got done off camera. Like this morning, for instance, I came out here and I just had a whole morning of working and doing things. And so with that being said, we got some new things done that I wanna show you. Also, I got a giveaway. I'm excited. I think y'all will be excited too. It is a giveaway that I worked with this company on before. It's a little bit different, but same company. But I think that you'll be happy to know that you have two chances to enter, once here on YouTube and once on Instagram. So let's talk about what we did, and then I'm gonna tell you about this giveaway. So if you remember, we pulled out our potatoes, got a really nice potato harvest, also went ahead and harvested the celery. So if you remember, we also had Swiss chard in the greenhouse that was not doing well. I brought it out of the greenhouse. I decided that if it's too warm in the greenhouse, to bring it outside, because we still have Swiss chard growing outside that is not having a problem. So that's what I did. I pulled that Swiss chard out of the greenhouse, brought it outside. We also put some of the peppers in here, the peppers that we got from the local store. I went ahead and planted those in here. We also planted some sunflowers from seed. These are teddy bear sunflowers from seed, and they have popped up. I'm excited about that. A lot of this is already planted. We do have a few pockets at the bottom, in the bottom two tiers, that need to be planted, but we will get those planted out soon as well. Oh, look at that. I need to pull, uh-oh, something was eating it. That's unfortunate, a bug got to it. But anyway, we also got this grass cut. If you remember, I told you we needed to weed eat. We did all of that this morning too, so the grass looks so much better around here. But the other thing I wanted to show y'all is, in place of the Swiss chard, we went ahead and put some more peppers. Peppers don't mind the heat. They like drier soil too, so this worked out well. So now we have peppers where the Swiss chard was. And y'all, look at that beauty. It goes so well in here. And I have a red and blue pillow over here that says love grows here. Oh, it looks so nice in here. I put some basil in here. So there's 10 basil plants in here and they go down. And I am going to also plant some sunflowers in here. I did not get around to doing that today before it got too warm outside. So I'm gonna do that. All the other pockets are going to have dwarf sunflowers in it. I think it's gonna be so pretty. And that is what's going to grow in there for the summer. I think it's just gonna be so pretty. We're gonna get some flowers in here, but I think it's beautiful, y'all. The other thing that we got done, you can see, what is it called? The gorilla cart is sitting right here, because the soil that was left from me filling that green stock up, I went ahead and put into the bags in here. So if you remember, I said that I needed to go ahead and amend these grow bags. So I dropped some of that soil in here. This soil has granulated fertilizer as well as rabbit manure. And so that's what I top these bags off with. It's the same thing that's in that tomato green stock as well. So with that being the case, I just need to come through here now and put some straw on top of the bags. What I have decided is that the black bags, I'm gonna try to grow corn in them. I don't think that it's gonna really shade anything, because I have no idea what I'm gonna put right here anyway. So whatever I put here, I could try to figure out something that's okay with shade, but I'm gonna try to grow corn in these bags. I think it should work. We shall see. And then the rest of the bags, I'm gonna come through and put some of the cucumbers in them, the bush cucumbers that I have, and then some miniature sunflowers are gonna go in here as well. So we gotta get around to doing that. The corn, I do want to go ahead and start in sale trays, just because I have a bird issue out here and I don't want them to dig through and steal the corn. So I'm gonna start them in trays. It does not take long. I did it last year. I started my corn in trays and then I transplanted it out. They did just fine. It is one of those plants that they tell you not to transplant, but I did. They did just fine. Now I did not get a lot of corn because I didn't know what I was doing, but I think I understand it this year. So I'm gonna put 4 corn in a bag, and that should be nice blocks in these 10 bags. That'll be 40 corn stalks. And I don't know how they're gonna do in these bags, but we're gonna try it anyway. I don't think it's gonna mess up anything else. I've been trying to think, oh my goodness, look at here, y'all. But what I was gonna say, I just saw something standing from over here. Anyway, what I was gonna say is I don't think it should shade anything. If it does, we'll pull it out. It's not a big deal because corn is not super expensive, but I do want to see if I can grow them in these bags. We have potatoes here. I will probably plant potatoes again, maybe end of July. My potatoes never do well if I plant them too early, like in the summer. So I'm gonna wait until end of July. If these aren't done, then I'm just gonna wait until they're finished. But yeah, potatoes for me just have always done better in cooler temperatures to get started. Anyway, look at this. I didn't even see that. Look. And this is supposed to be the yellow tomato. Look at that. We need to clean them tomato plants up. Look at that. It's supposed to be the patio choice yellow, but that's definitely orange. Let's taste it, y'all. I'm gonna wipe it off on my shirt. Let's see what it tastes like. It's sweet. I never tasted the patio choice yellow. That skin ain't good. I don't like the skin, but the tomato itself has a very sweet taste. Anyway, I'm sure we're gonna find some more tomatoes that's ripe once we get in here and start cleaning up. But anyway, let me tell y'all about the giveaway. So I am partnering once again with Vego Gardens, y'all. And this time we are partnering for a total gift card giveaway of $300. But we're doing 150 on Instagram and 150 on YouTube. I wanted to be able to do a giveaway for all of my supporters. So whether you're on Instagram or whether you're on YouTube, I wanted to be able to do that. They said, you know, we could do a $300 giveaway. I said, can we do 150 and 150? And so now I could do a giveaway for both Instagram and YouTube. And I'm very, very excited. So in case you have not heard of Vego, Vego is a company that creates products that you can kind of put together like Legos. So for instance, their garden beds normally come where you can configure them to different sizes. So I configured this to a smaller size, but this could have been a bigger bed. They are also very sturdy products. I have had these garden beds for a while, like when I first started gardening. I want to say they probably been in my garden since 2021, and there is no rusting, any of that. Nothing is falling apart. The rubber that they give you for these beds stays on. Same thing here. Look at the nuts and bolts. Nothing is rusting, right? So like I said, they make products that will work together. You can add on to them from the first product. So for instance, they sent me the watering system. I need to get it set up. Pretty sure that's going to be Wednesday's video, right? But you can basically add that watering system to any of their garden beds. So you're not having to go out and find other things and other ways. It will actually attach to the garden bed. And so, like I was saying, they have beds that can be configured to different sizes. This one over here is much larger. This is also a Vego garden bed. And the bed still looks just as good as it did when I first got it years ago. So I'm sure you want to know, how do you enter? The way that you're going to enter is you have to follow me here on YouTube. If you are entering for Instagram, you have to follow me on Instagram. You have to follow Vego here on YouTube or on Instagram, depending on where you're entering at. You have to like the post. So like this video or like the Instagram post. You also need to tell me, what is your biggest watering issue in your garden? I'm interested to know, and I think Vego is as well. The other thing you need to do, especially on Instagram, because I don't think you can do it on YouTube, is tag 2 to 3 friends down in the comments. And if you're entering on Instagram, if you do a story post, you get an extra entry. That's all that you need to do. This giveaway is only open to US residents, but I hope that you decide to enter because I think that they have really good products. I think that the products last, and that's what I'm looking for at this point. Things that last. Good luck. I hope that you are the winner. Oh, don't forget, y'all, I'm not coming down in the comments of this video and saying, hey, you won, but you need to send me money for this, that, and the third. I am not going to email you because I don't have your email address. I am not going to do anything other than post a short on YouTube to tell you that you won or a reel on Instagram. So with that being the case, please, please, please do not interact with anyone saying that they are me, because it is not me. I'm always going to tell you that you won on a reel or a short, unless I say that I'm gonna tell you some other way. But normally that's what I'm gonna do, just so you know that is me. But anywho, good luck on entering, y'all. But look at this. Look at these roses, y'all. Remember, I cut the whole rose bush down. So let me be clear. If you have a rose bush and you don't know how to prune it, I know these knockout roses, cut it down to the ground, baby. It's gonna come back just fine. And the crazy part is I was worried about like pruning those when I did have them. And people was like, girl, just cut them. And I was like, I've seen other people who make it seem like you really gotta know what you're doing. I cut that down to the ground because I was trying to get rid of it. It just grew back. So just know that. Where are we starting at? These tomatoes are out of hand. And it's really just the ones in the greenhouse that's out of hand. And then the ones over here are now out of hand. I just need to cut off any disease, if I'm honest. That's it. Let's get to work, y'all. So a lot of people are asking me, and I didn't think that it's something that people really wanted to see, but I see that y'all do because people are asking. But people are asking, like, what do you do to care for your tomatoes? So it depends on the tomato. So you have determinate tomatoes, you have indeterminate tomatoes. Let's stop and talk for a minute. Actually, let's say we did, but don't. Let's get in here and get to work, actually. So you have determinate tomatoes and you have indeterminate tomatoes. Determinate tomatoes are tomatoes that's gonna grow to a certain height and they're gonna give you a bunch of tomatoes at one time. A lot of people say that they're going to die out. I have left my determinate tomatoes before and they have given me another flush. Now it's not the same amount that I get the first time, but I have gotten another flush. So it is your choice whether you take them out and plant them again or whether you just leave them and get a smaller harvest. But they're all gonna come basically at one time and then you will preserve them or use them or do whatever you're going to do. Those tomatoes, I personally do not prune. The garden rule says you should not prune them. And that is because with indeterminate tomatoes, we cut these things called suckers. If you cut those off of determinate tomatoes, you are basically lessening how much fruit you're going to get. So my indeterminate tomatoes are out in the garden. These are indeterminate tomatoes. And you can see they look a bit out of hand. The way indeterminate tomatoes work is they just keep growing and growing and growing. I have seen on other channels where their indeterminate tomatoes, they have a way to stake it and it goes way up in the air. They got to get on ladders. I'm pretty sure I've seen him get on ladders to get to his tomatoes. I really don't want to have to do that, but they can grow very tall, very long, and they'll be tall if you're staking them. If you're not, they're going to be vines and they're going to root and they're going to do all kinds of stuff because tomatoes do kind of just grow on the ground and vine unless you train them to do something else. And that is what I have done here. So I should have probably kept these to 1 liter. And when I say that, there should just be one main stem for me because I have let these get out of hand. I was trying to do 2 liters. So I would have had basically 2 main stems. We probably got 3 and 4 main stems in here now, and that's what we're going to work on today. But what I was saying is they will just keep growing and they will throw out suckers. These are new limbs that will also still produce more fruit. Normally, and I don't even want to say normally, I want to say I should have come in here because I don't know why I was standing there bent over when I can move this. Normally, or I should have, like I said, come out here and kept this under control. I did not, y'all. So these are indeterminate and I have some other indeterminate out in the garden, but I am using a different type of trellising method for the ones that's out in the garden, which I should have honestly used in here and tied them to the stakes. I don't want T-posts in here, but I do want a better way to take care of this. So let's get to work on how I'm going to clean this up. Now, I do want to keep them at 2 liters, but I don't know that I'm going to be able to keep them at 2 liters. One thing I'm happy about is that nothing seems in the front. I'm gonna show you in the back a little bit of disease, but nothing in the front seems to be diseased. These right here, the first 4 are super sweet 100s. I really want to try to grow them. The next 2 are Rosellas. The next 2 I want to say are Great Whites. The next 2 are Brad's Atomic Grape. They have disease on them. That is so weird, but and then the last 2 we have Cherokee Purple. So we're gonna try to go through here today and clean this up as best we can. We're gonna try to tie them to the stakes and see what we can do. And I've been saying we need to do this, and I'm just really getting around to it. So let's see here. For one, I don't even know which tomato stem goes to what. So this goes over here. What I would like to do is find a stake for stuff like this, but also trying to figure out, is this just an extra limb? Or was this, yeah, see, we got liters and liters and liters of things. We're gonna let that lay for now. It's on my pepper, but I don't think the pepper minds that much. So we're gonna let that lay for now. And I'm gonna try to focus on this one. All right, so this is for sure a sucker. And you do not have to cut these suckers. You can let this tomato plant just grow and do exactly what it wants to do. You are still going to get tomatoes. For me, I don't want this to be this wild in this greenhouse because the humidity gets high. The reason why people say that you should prune your tomatoes is so you can get airflow and you can avoid disease, right? And I believe that that is true. And so that's why I am pruning. I don't want them to get diseased early. I don't want to have to replant things like that. But you don't have to do this. There are plenty of people who do not prune their tomatoes. If I'm honest, I was one of those people for quite some time, or for a couple of seasons or whatever you want to say, that did not prune my tomatoes. We got us a blushing one. And you can take tomatoes when they start blushing. You don't have to leave them on the vine to ripen. You can, but you don't have to. Also, you can stick this in water or soil and it will grow another plant for you. If you pull these leaves off, cut these leaves off, whatever you want to do, stick it in some soil, you will realize, or water, you will see roots in the water, and eventually in soil, you will realize that it has rooted and you will have a whole new tomato plant. Right now though, I'm going to go through and try to cut off all of the suckers that I can find. I'm gonna bring you a little closer so you can see what I mean when I say suckers. I'm also gonna go down the bottom of this plant and cut off a lot of the leaves because some of them are diseased and I really just don't need them anymore. So if you see right here, this is, let me see if I can move some stuff. This is a main stem. This piece right here is a main stem, right? This is a sucker. So if you look, try to show you best I can. You have a leaf right here. This is where the sun is going on the leaves and is feeding the plant, right? All of the leaves are feeding it, but this is just one that's not gonna grow fruit. Right here, you have a piece of the plant where you have some leaves, but you can also see that is still growing out of it. That's a sucker. This is your main stem, or a main stem, because this plant has 52 of them. I would pull this sucker out, and I would really like to cut it, but I didn't. So this is the sucker here, and this is my main stem. You see that? Right here is another sucker. So this is my main stem right here. This is my sucker. This is my leaf. I personally, not telling anybody else to do it, am gonna cut that sucker out. And that sucker did have flowers on it, but I have to get this cleaned up. If I just let everything go, this is gonna be a mess in here. But again, you do not have to cut your suckers. This is my choice. I'm sharing because people ask, how do I care for my tomatoes? And because I had to care for them anyway. This is another one where I could stick it into some water. Most people would tell you water or soil. Most people would tell you take the flowers off of it and do it. Do it however you want to and see if it works, because that's how I garden. So listen, there is so much going on this one plant. So much going on this one plant. All right, let's get this sucker right here. That's another sucker right on the other side of it. Crazy work. This is my main stem right here. And this actually belongs to another plant. This piece right here, that goes over there. And you see why I said I got to get this under control? That don't even go with that. So I'm gonna go ahead and get any suckers off of here that I can find. So that was my second leader that I found the first time. All right, there's another sucker right there. So we're getting that off. And now, all right, here go another one. It's pretty small. I'm even taking the small ones. All right, that's one right here too. And we're gonna tie this to this stake at this point because it's falling over. And then the next thing we're gonna do, so this is our second leader. We gotta get that tied up, or we need to cut it, but I think we're gonna tie it up. But everything under that leader, like you see this is diseased, this yellow, we getting that all off. So we cutting up this leader right up under that first thing of tomatoes. And so now we'll get some airflow down here at the bottom, and those are our 2 leaders. So right here you can see we got some yellow on it, that too, but we also have a sucker. So we're gonna take both of those off right there. Anything that looks diseased or yeah, we're gonna go ahead and cut it. And like right here, that's a sucker and a diseased leaf. So that's what we're gonna go through here and do tonight. That's a sucker right here, little baby sucker. This is where you would want to originally get the suckers if you don't do like me and really just wait until the last minute. And that's another one right here. Also can still be stuck in some water. So yeah, we're gonna pull the disease stuff out of the greenhouse. I had been throwing the things that we cut off back in here, but if it's diseased, I don't want to do that. And so now we have pretty much cleared this plant up, and we're gonna get it tied to its stake. And this one just needs a stake. It's got a bunch of tomatoes on it, so that's why I'm trying to save it. I guess I could probably tie them both to this one stake, but probably gonna end up being a mess. All right, let's figure this out. We're gonna get this tied up first and foremost. And we got more back here that's just falling, babe. Just falling. But see when I say, like, it'll just keep growing. I don't see any more. So we're gonna tie these up. We're gonna just go through and keep doing this. This is how we're gonna get this cleaned up tonight. And hopefully it looks better. I think I'm out of like really good stakes. So I don't know what we're gonna do there. And I tie it to the pole first. I saw Jacques in the garden do it. And I was like, oh, makes perfect sense. So I tied to the pole first, and then tie it over top of a leaf or a tomato truss so that it can't slide down. That's the whole point of that. Try to do it, you know, maybe with 6 inches or so in between each tie. That's just me looking at it right now. That's not something that I am out here measuring. But you know, you can put a little bit of space between it so it's not so much work. But yeah, and this one that's still hanging, I'm gonna see if I got an extra stake for it. If not, I'll just leave it hanging and I will go and get stakes in the morning. So one thing that I wish I had done in here is kept it, I wanted to maximize my space, right? And nothing wrong with that. So I have doubled the tomato plants that I should have had in here. I should have had one of each, but because I still had 2 seedlings, I wanted to put them in here. I think I should have stuck to having one of each plant in the middle of the bed and then having the basil and the marigold around it. When it came to planting time, I just made that decision on a whim. This is a lot. Let me go let me go see if I can find another stake for this leader right here. I do not have another stake. So we'll have to go get stakes tomorrow. And I guess I'm just gonna let it kind of hang here overnight. Any of the second leaders, I'm gonna make sure I get it down to only 2 leaders. And any of the second leaders, I'm just gonna let them hang. And then tomorrow I will go and find some stakes for all of these. By the way, I did get the water tote that was over in the garden. I got that taken out, so that's cool. I needed the pavers for that green stalk that I put in here. So I was like, oh, perfect timing. I got the sink cleaned up. Whoa, that broke. Not broke, but it definitely looks like it will if I leave it there. I got the sink cleaned up. I also got some soap out there in the sink so I can use it. And also when my greenhouse gets here, I'm gonna put that sink in there. Yeah, y'all, this was, okay, so see, we got a second liter right here, and we just gonna have to do it. I hate doing it because there's flowers on it, but what I would hate even more for my situation in this greenhouse is for it to get no airflow and for these plants to start dying from disease. So I just gotta do what I gotta do, but I'm cleaning up, like I said, each one of the liters at a time so I can make sure I get everything. And then tomorrow we'll get stakes. So I'm letting them kind of lean down, but trying not to break them. Cause, oh yeah, this is a whole liter coming from the bottom. We're not keeping that. We're not keeping that. So if you see right here, that's a new liter coming from the bottom of the plant. We are not keeping that. We're gonna go ahead and cut it off. See, it could be another tomato if you want to make it another tomato. I'm not doing it, but it can be. And so coming over here, right here, we have definitely more than one. So we have 3 liters on this one. Unless this, nope, that goes to another plant. So, all right, these are our 2 liters here. And we got us a sucker right here that we're gonna take out. Another one up here that we're gonna take out, and one right here that we're gonna take out. So now we've cleaned it up. If you see right there, right here, girl, can't see nothing. If you see right here, you got this tiny sucker right there. See that? We're gonna take that out too, because we do not want these to grow. And then we're gonna try to stay on top of this. We're gonna try. All right, and then we're gonna tie this main one, because this one is already tied to the stake that we have. Then we're gonna go down the bottom, clean it up a little bit. Tomorrow morning, we're gonna go get stakes for the second liter. This is my first time growing in the greenhouse, and let me be clear, in this greenhouse, and I wasn't sure how indeterminates were gonna do in here. Girl, they growing this year with no problem. They doing so good in this greenhouse. Cutting the leaves at the bottom is gonna be helpful for me because I'm gonna be able to water much easier as well. There's a wasp in here with me. He's a big one too, but I'm not gonna mess with him. My thought is there's gotta be stuff in here for him to eat, because he been in here for a few days too. So I don't mess with him and he ain't been messing with me. But if it's pest in here that he eating, I say stay as long as you want to, sir. Something is also flying in my face. Yeah, I say stay as long as you want to. All right, getting this done. And if I see any leaves higher up that have any signs of disease, this is my sign of disease. I cut that off too. Whole leaf can go, baby. I've seen a disease just take over and attack all of the plants around it. So we not gonna do that. And I tie this very loosely around the tomato because the tomato can get pretty thick. Like the plant, the stem can get really thick. So we got another one, take it care of. And I'm keeping 2 liters. You could keep just this 1 liter if you wanted to. I wanna keep 2 liters. And next year I'm gonna try to figure out how I could just take it from this center brace and then I don't have to use these stakes. But I didn't figure that out this year and that's okay. So now we're gonna come down here, clean up the bottom. And I can't bring y'all super close because there's not a lot of space in the greenhouse. But like you can see, we got leaves that are crusty and crumbly and they have died. We're cutting all of that away, but we're also cutting leaves that look like they're okay. Not this whole one, but they're leaves that look like they're okay. All the way up this until we get to where the tomatoes and stuff are growing, just to get some airflow in here. And we're gonna do this across all of the plants. That's a sucker and a low leaf. And then we should be able to get some airflow down here, and that's what we are going for. We'll be able to see all the way through. Uh-oh, I hit that mic, sorry y'all. We'll be able to see all the way through here when we are done. So I think that we have talked through that enough. I think you probably understand what I'm doing here. And I'm gonna get this done real quick in here. And then I'm gonna show you what I did. And then we're gonna go look at what I do to determinate tomatoes, which is not a lot, y'all. All right, y'all, we are done. We cleaned that up. I'm very happy. Listen, the things I didn't know is all of these tomatoes are in here. Like, I didn't know these tomatoes was in here because I couldn't see nothing. Also, y'all, this is Super Sweet 100 going over here. This was the second liter. Look at that. It's not as many as I was hoping for, but we have quite a few trusses that's full, and so I'm not complaining. Some are actually starting to ripen. I didn't even know that. This is the Rosella, y'all. Look at this thing. Look at all of them tomatoes. Hold on. Let me get it out here for you. Look at all those tomatoes on that one. This one too. This is a Rosella. Like, how cool is that? And it goes all the way over here. But we got to get some stakes for this one. These two right here and this one right there. Anything that had a second leader that didn't have a lot of tomatoes on it, I just cut it off because it was a mess in here. And I feel like now they're going to get more airflow. I feel like, honestly, I'm going to be able to water a little bit better. And then I had basils and marigolds down here, if you remember, and they weren't really growing. I think that now they will grow a little bit better too. I know it looks sparse right now, and that's okay because there's tomatoes on every last one of these plants, y'all. And I would have never known that there was this many tomatoes in here because I couldn't see nothing. Look at all these tomatoes. Also, if anything had disease, so the Brad's Atomic Grape definitely had disease on the top. The leaves that's left look a little diseased too, but I'm leaving them. I cut the top off. We will get a sucker that will grow again, and then I will make that my main leader. But right now, we have no top. And see, these leaves don't look great, but they don't look horrible either. The leaves that were at the top were black. So I went ahead and just cut them off to get the disease out of here. And it's the same thing with the Brad's Atomic Grape that was over here. Now, I think it's mostly because these plants are in the back and they weren't getting a lot of airflow. And that's fine, because like right here, that's a leaf from a, what's it called? Cherokee Purple. But we have one Cherokee Purple down there. So I'm hoping now that I've given some airflow and some light that the ones in the back will start to do better too. I should have put them in the front because those are the ones I like the most. The Brad's Atomic Grape, the Cherokee Purple, and the Great White, they're all back there struggling while these cherry tomatoes up here living their best life. So tomorrow I'm gonna go get some stakes, stake up these second leaders. So it's only 3 plants now that have second leaders, but every plant in here, including the Great White, the Brad's Atomic, all have tomatoes on them. That Rosella, that somebody sent me those seeds. Very prolific, y'all. Like, it's got a lot of flowers on it and it gets big. Like, look, I have not tasted it yet, but look at all these flowers on here. All of those flowers. And then you got all of these tomatoes. And I showed you the other one that should have been the main stem, if I'm honest. It has so many tomatoes on it. That should have been the main stem, but I had already tied it to the stake. So I really can't wait to try those because, listen, I'll be growing those again. Very prolific, if they're good. Very prolific and like, wow. Just wow. Anyway, this is what came out of there. You see we have some flowers. The one of the Rosellas had 3 leaders. I said absolutely not. But this is what we ended up with out of here. So we're finishing here. Tomorrow I'm going to water really well in here. Well, I'm going to stake up the ones that have 2 leaders. I'm gonna water really well in here, and then I'm going to fertilize. I decided to try Neptune's Harvest. That's the one that I'm gonna try. I purchased it. It seems like you don't need just a whole lot. My whole thing was finding one where I don't need a whole lot so it can last. And you don't need a whole lot. So we're gonna try Neptune's Harvest, and these for sure need to be fertilized now that I have done all of that cutting on them. So I hope that y'all enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to visit me over on Instagram, where I post about the things going on in my garden almost every day. Bye, y'all.